No, I just cut off the screen. Should be good. Okay. Hello and welcome to On the Turf, hosted by four guys who have never been on the turf. My name is Arjun Ryan,
I'm Camille. I'm Danny.
And I'm Ron Patel.
and for our final season, we are trying to bring back as many guests as possible throughout the four seasons of On the Turf. And of course, we had to bring Corey back. Obviously, brought AJ back earlier this year. Perhaps you saw our election episode, which was great, but we had to bring back Corey as well. Corey, thanks for returning back on the show. I think for your third time.
I know, right? Glad to be back. Go on the turf.
Let's do a quick segment at the top. Corey, we've checked in on you every single time you've come on the show with the Giants. Nothing and much has changed. In fact, it's probably gotten worse with every appearance you have had on the show. Quick thoughts on the Giants before we'll talk about Dable and Shane a little bit later. Spoiler alert, but just quick thoughts. Daniel Jones this whole season looks like you guys
Um,
might get the number one pick.
yeah, there's not really much to say about like playing games anymore. Kind of just hoping for the number one pick here at this point. I just think, the New York media cycle is devastating. The effects that, apparently once Saquon Barkley leaves, he's the best player in football. And it's our fault for letting him go. But, it's not like Derrick Henry left and is carrying the Ravens. Josh Jacobs left, carrying the Packers.
If you
Daniel
kept
Jones
Saquon, you
has a
could be a
great PR
starter on this
team.
team. You just have Saquon.
That's precisely my point about Saquon.
Yeah.
They did right by Saquon leaving, honestly.
That's what I'm saying. But it is what it is. The Giants aren't good. Hopefully we get a QB.
Shadur
Shador,
Sanders,
Cam,
Cam Ward.
Cam
Cam
Ward.
Ward,
Cam
or
Ward's my
Shadur?
guy.
Yeah.
Cam
Okay.
Ward's my
I
guy.
think it's got to be Shador. I'm sure we'll talk. Oh, I don't know if
Okay.
we will talk draft. I'm sure we might talk draft at some point, but I don't know. It might be Shador, man. Shador looks
Yeah.
good.
What are
Shadur
the
Shador
games?
looks
Yeah.
Shador
I
looks like
know.
a pro.
Yeah. Um, but let's move on to week 14. For all of you guys who are vying for playoff spots in fantasy, good luck to you all this year. I know
Not me.
me and
Not me either.
not these guys, but both
Bottom
of
of the
us
board.
At the brothel.
Yeah, actually, I think we're the worst two
I
teams.
think so.
Yeah, we
I
had a
think
across
tank
two
so.
poll. I beat
leagues.
him.
Across
Yeah, he
two
beat me in the
leagues.
Tank Bowl by 1 point.
Let's go. 92-91, baby.
Yeah.
Let's talk about
Sucks.
Rohan's team, the Arizona Cardinals, with possibly the biggest game for their playoff picture going into week 14, facing off against the Seahawks. Played the Seahawks, I believe, 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, lost. In I'd say maybe not an upset, but in a game the Cardinals were certainly favored to win. Seahawks currently in the driver's seat of the West. Rohan, do you think the Cardinals will pull off the win here, get back into divisional play?
I mean, yeah, you have to think so. I'm gonna say yes, obviously. I think this is a team, this is a game that, it's at home. You just played them 2 weeks ago, played them kind of rough, but I mean, it's a divisional opponent. These are the types of games that usually go one way or another. And considering one already went Seattle's way, I think this one goes our way. Last week, really rough ending, obviously, to the Vikings, but it was really encouraging, I think, defensively to see what we could do for most of the game, get pressure, make some big plays on defense. Offensively, I thought we had some pretty good drives. So I'm confident that against a weaker defense in Seattle, we can do more. I think honestly, whoever wins this game is winning the division. I think the Rams and the Niners have showed that they don't really have the talent, I think, to keep up. Niners, obviously, because of injuries. Um, Whereas the Seahawks, they have two pretty rough games coming up on their schedule. They have, I think I just saw the Packers and the Vikings. So two tough games coming up for them, whereas we get the Panthers and the Patriots. So I think if the Seahawks pull this one off, I do think they're in driver's seat. They're 2 games ahead. They have the tiebreaker 2-0 over us. Whereas if we win this game, we get two easier games coming up, and a split against the Seahawks. I think that puts us in the driver's seat. So I think the division comes down to this game right this week.
Yeah, I don't have too many thoughts on this game. I will say I'll take the Cardinals. With these divisional games, Seahawks took the first one. Typically, when you have two teams same caliber, or roughly the same caliber as the two, you expect the other one to come out on top in the next matchup. And yeah, I just trust Kyler Murray more than I do Geno Smith in these types of games. You're gonna need a good quarterback play to win you this game, division on the line. And hey, the Cardinals have been playing pretty good football. Lost the game to the Vikings, but they played well. Took the Vikings that last drive to win that game. That's I know this isn't college football, but that's a quality loss. And I do think the Cardinals are a pretty good team, and they're a better team than the Seahawks, and I expect them to win this game.
I'll go quickly. I'm gonna pick the Cardinals as well. I think I don't know, like I think Kyler is the better quarterback than Geno, but I think Geno has shown something over the past this whole winning streak. I think they're on a 4 game win streak of just being clutch as hell. Like you gotta respect the guy. Like the Seahawks have looked down like horrendous at points against the Jets. Um, they didn't look amazing against the Cardinals by any means. Across this entire win streak, they beat the Niners with Brock Purdy a couple weeks before that. The Seahawks have looked bad at times, but have been able to put it together in the second half. Credit goes to Mike McDonald, their new head coach, who's been able to make some really good second half adjustments. And their special teams play was absolutely terrible last week against the Jets, and they
Yeah.
still managed to win.
Mhm.
But I really think this game comes down to I think if the Cardinals can get a run game going early, they're going to win this game. They're going to stay in control. I hope they don't make Kyler have to win this game because I just don't think the passing game is robust enough right now to get it done in that way. So Cardinals have
Yeah.
to get after a running game, make the Seahawks stop the run. The Seahawks have a terrible running game, so force Geno in a couple picks, and I think that's the recipe.
Yeah,
The
I agree.
Cardinals
And
win.
and I will say this Cardinals defense has been playing lights out.
Yeah,
Lights out. I think they're arguably a top 10, if not top five defense over since the beginning of our win streak. Hear me out, hear me out. I mean, the last drive against the Vikings was rough. Week before against the Seahawks, their only touchdown was a pick six. If you look at our games before the bye week, I mean, we didn't let the Jets score a touchdown. We didn't let the Bears score a touchdown. Held the Dolphins, who are a pretty dynamic offense. That wasn't a great game, 27 points. Didn't let the Chargers score a touchdown. Once we started that win streak, we've really only had, I would say, we didn't let any touchdowns at home for the course of like 4 weeks. This is a really good defense with not a lot of talent. Jonathan Gannon is doing a great job. I think we're going to be once we get more talent in this defense, it's going to be really, really scary.
Yeah, I'm also gonna have to pick Cardinals this week. I just don't think the Seahawks have the consistency to really put it together here in like these bigger games. And I'm trusting Arizona now to like put it together at this point in the season. I think this is the real breaking point
Yeah.
to see who's like the real team here. And
maybe
Geno's
none of
been
them are
great.
real.
Well, somebody has to come out of the NFC. Somebody
Someone's
has
got
someone's got to win the division. I think Geno's been great, but that offensive line is just it's terrible. Offensive line is terrible. Their defense has been like mildly impressive at times, but it's also had its moments where they just look terrible. So, I'm gonna go with the Cardinals here.
All right, let's go to Kirk Cousins' return to Minnesota. Not a game receiving as much fanfare as you might think. Maybe earlier in the season we thought it might be. 6-6 Falcons fighting for their absolute life right now. They had a 2 game, they had the tiebreaker over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a 2 game lead. Now both teams sitting at 6-6. The Falcons facing a 10-2 Vikings team. Camille, you were a big Falcons guy from the beginning of the
I
season.
was.
Kirk Cousins threw 4 picks last week. Are you
Mhm.
still on the train for this team?
I am not. This team has proven itself to be thoroughly mediocre. And, I thought they were going to put it together and get better as the season went on, but they haven't. They're a pretty mid team at best. They still might win this division because the Buccaneers are also a pretty mid team, as it would be. But yeah, I think an underlooked part of this game is the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, they're what are they 10-2,
Mm-hmm.
fighting for that one seed. Now they got the old man coming back to the old stomping grounds. But Kirk Cousins, I mean, this guy, he might be thoroughly washed. It is,
Achilles injuries are undefeated this year.
yeah, it's very sad. I mean, it looks like the Rams, like the family barbecue trying to throw a football, and
Yeah.
it's not very good. And I think it might be time. This might be the game where if Kirk doesn't do anything, if he has a first half where he throws a couple picks and they can't move the offense, they might put Michael Penix Jr. in at halftime, trying to save their season, make sure they don't lose this grip on the division. I think the Vikings are a better team. I think they should win this game, but my true prediction of this game is that Michael Penix Jr. will be coming in at quarterback.
That's a hot take. I don't think we get there yet. I think the Falcons are not only, you know, tied to Kirk as a running quarterback by committing to that, but I think they're very financially tied to this guy right now. I don't
Mhm.
think this is something that you can really step off of at this point in time. I get trying to save the season. I don't know if management owners in Atlanta are going to let this happen and not at least devote one full season to Kirk. That
See,
being
keep
said,
trying to
I
win
do
football
think
games, man.
what'd you say?
They're trying to win football games.
I agree. I agree. I mean, I think you do have to maybe try it out at some point, but you're still in the race. Kirk led you to a few good wins at the beginning of the year. You got to see if that's going to pan out the rest of the year. I don't think it does in this game. This Vikings defense is pretty good. I think Brian Flores is going to dial up the pressure and get to Kirk. Force him into some bad passes. I don't think this is going to be a particularly close game. The Falcons haven't played many great games lately. They're on a three-game losing streak. I think that continues. I'll say Vikings and like a 10-point win.
Yeah, I can't help but agree with you, Rohan. As a previous Kirk guy, I just
Oh, I
he's
forgot you were also a Kirk guy.
I was a big Kirk guy coming into this year. I thought this was going to be a big year for the Falcons. Just based off what Kirk did in Minnesota last year, but unfortunately, I think that ownership is a little inept. I think that team is kind of done. And unfortunately, I even throwing Michael Penix Jr. in there, I don't think that changes anything for the Falcons. I'm thinking here that the Buccaneers do clutch up and win that division, and I'm thinking that the Vikings stomp the Falcons this weekend here.
Yeah, I agree with you guys on the game. Quickly on Kirk and Penix. I I believe what was that wrong?
Sorry, I was just like a little bit blurry, I realized.
No, it's okay. It threw me off for a second.
So, quick question: Bucks and Falcons, do they still play?
No, the Falcons have a 2-game tiebreaker over them.
Okay.
They beat them twice, but the Falcons can trade Kirk Cousins this offseason, and I believe it's not too
Who's
financially.
taking him?
Who's taking that contract?
I'm just saying they could trade. I don't think. I mean, I don't know who would trade from, but it is financially that is their option to get out of it if they want. But giving 100 million guaranteed to a quarterback off an Achilles tear who's 36,
35.
maybe a little
Yeah.
questionable take. But let's move to Chargers Chiefs, big divisional matchup between the AFC West. I believe if the Chiefs win this, they could. I believe they would lock up the AFC West. I could be wrong about that,
Yeah.
but they would go on to be what, like 7 years in a row at this point. Um, but this is a big spot on Sunday Night Football. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Obviously, we've talked about them in the past couple of weeks. Have not looked great, but they are still only a one-loss team right now. The Chargers absolutely terrible offensive game last week. 50 yards rushing. J.K. Dobbins being out has really hurt this running game.
Mhm.
Herbert hasn't really done much of anything. Lad McConkey is now injured. What do we think? I'm gonna be honest. The Chiefs are favored by 4. I think the Chiefs are gonna win this, and I would not be surprised if. I know the Chiefs don't tend to blow out teams. I feel like this might be a 10-point win. I love Herbert. He just doesn't have the weapons around him. I don't know. This defense is playing well, but there just isn't enough offensive juice from the Chargers right now. Maybe if the Chiefs look the same they did against the Raiders, this could be a game for the Chargers. But I'm tempted to pick the Chiefs, and I'll say they win by 7. I'll say like 27-20. I just think the Chargers are a little outmatched right now.
Yeah, I unfortunately have to agree with you here. I don't think the Chargers currently have what it takes to beat the Devil Magic. Um, like they don't have the juice on offense, unfortunately. However, I do think that this will be a closer game than what we're expecting. I think the Chargers defense will hold the Chiefs here. Um, I think it'll be a pretty ugly game, to be honest. It'll be like one of those ugly divisional games where the Chiefs barely scrape out a win in a similar fashion to what they did against the Raiders. But yeah, I think the devil magic prevails at the end.
Yeah, I agree. I think this Chiefs defense, I mean, I think they'll be fine in this game. Like I said, the Chargers offense hasn't looked great, but this Chiefs defense, I think, is starting to become a little cause for concern, a little bit for the Chiefs. When you're thinking about how they really relied on that defense last year, and then you look at some rough games against the Bills and the Panthers. Maybe not this week, but I think that is a cause for concern. I think they still win this game, because of, like you said, the lack of firepower on the Chargers. Um, I don't know. I don't know. Some parts of the Chiefs concern me though. I think it's going to be close.
Yeah. I don't
Take them.
think.
Take the Chargers. Come on, do it.
Yeah.
I know Camille wants to.
I don't think this is going to be an easy game for the Chiefs whatsoever. I think this is exactly the type of game for the Chiefs. It's going to be a grimy, gritty game against a Harbaugh-led team. Who Harbaugh, he understands that this offense is undermanned, kind of in shambles. And I think now, like third week of this going, he's going to figure something out, especially with this Chiefs defense that isn't playing that well to get points on the board to make this a proper game. And yeah, these divisional matchups, you just never know. Like if there's something that's going to cancel out the Chiefs Devil Magic, it's going to be the BS nonsense that happens in these types of divisional games. And listen, the Chiefs haven't been playing that great. I mean, they almost lost. They should have lost to the AOC Raiders. Almost lost to the Bryce Young Panthers. So I don't necessarily think that the Chiefs,
the
that the
Raiders.
Chargers being a little injured, is going to be, the difference between then curb stomping them. So, screw it. I'll take the Chargers, winning by 3. Some crazy close game where Mahomes throws a baffling pick that gets tipped by like 10 different people and falls into the hands of Joey Bosa or something. He takes it for a pick 6 to win the game. How about that?
So
That
Chargers.
does not sound like it happens to the Chiefs.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it'd be the
Opposite
other
of
way around,
double
That's
honestly.
the
I feel
opposite.
like
Yeah, it's the
yeah,
opposite.
it
it would
Doesn't
look,
make
I think it
how
would be
the
a
double
pick
magic
six, and
goes.
then Joey Bosa would fumble it, and Xavier Worthy would run into the end zone for a
Wait,
game.
wait. I'm predicting here like Chargers driving down the field last minute. They're gonna kick a field goal and win the game. Block kick, return for a touchdown. That's the vibes I'm
Get like a
getting.
kick 6 or something.
Yeah, kick
Yeah.
6 to end the game.
Yeah, the Chiefs haven't done that this year. We're waiting on it. We're due.
It's gonna happen.
Let's move to awards predictions. Haven't talked much about the awards race so far. Let's just go rapid fire. Let's start out with the MVP. Camille, I'll let you go first.
Josh Allen.
Okay, there we go. I will also pick Josh
Noted.
Allen. Josh Allen deserves this award. Congratulations to him
The best
and Haley
quarterback in the league.
Seinfeld, and potentially getting 2 rings this year.
God willing, please, God.
Rohan.
I need it.
Yeah, it's got to be Josh Allen. The Lamar stats are better, I will say, but the narrative is definitely. Whoa! Let me
Oh
finish my
God.
sentence.
Dude, bro.
Let me finish my sentence. I was just saying, some people argue Lamar's stats are better. Josh Allen has a better narrative this year. He's led his team to a better record. He's clearly the engine of this offense. Lamar has Derrick Henry, who's carried a good portion of that offense. If Josh Allen, I think, is doing this himself, he deserves it. You guys really need to relax sometimes.
No,
I was
I
just
was just
making a
trying to
point.
instigate there, to be honest with you.
You guys got to hear me out on this one here. Give me Jared Goff.
Well, I like it. I like it.
Give me Jared
I'm
Goff.
surprised you weren't going to say Saquon, honestly.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I thought you were gonna say Saquon. I can't lie.
No. I don't think. The Eagles to me aren't a good enough team. Like of course they're going to be great during the regular season, but I promise you it happens every time. The Eagles will crash and burn during the playoffs. It's just how it happens. But I'm gonna take Jared Goff here. I know he's a bit of an outlier candidate right now for MVP, but I just think the work that's being done in Detroit is being a little understated right now across the league. Well, maybe not understated, but I think his role in it is a little understated here. He's had like damn near perfect games multiple times this year. Like sure the statistics may have me leaning Lamar or Josh Allen, but I just think Jared Goff has done insane work with this Detroit Lions team, and they deserve all the credit here.
I will say, if Jared Goff beats Josh Allen and the Bills next week, and has a good game, like you're saying, I think we could see the narrative start to shift.
Time to have some uncomfortable conversations.
I will say I think it has to be a Lamar Purdy thing from last year where Goff like really like crushes
Yeah.
crushes the Bills.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
I think the thing with Goff is that you look at this offense, it is insane. Between
It
like
is.
the running game first, like having Monty and Gibbs is insane.
Mhm.
You look at the pass catchers, the O line, everything is elite on this offense. Josh Allen, I think, is really doing a lot of this himself, literally rushing,
This is
throwing, and catching touchdown passes. I think it's tough to knock him off right now unless he absolutely like has an awful end to the season.
Mhm.
But if Goff has like an incredible game, I could see it happening.
You know what I will say as well? I will say don't count out the MV3 here. Um,
I'm counting it out.
I think it's very real possibility Lamar like turns it around, but finishes super strong in the season and just wins another.
He's going to play the
I think-
Steelers
I
again.
think
He
Lamar
plays the
has-
Steelers again in 2
Lamar
weeks.
has proven he's not the most valuable player. I mean, when they're forced to lean on him, they typically lose games. When you force to lean on Josh Allen, you're
Well,
winning.
I don't know if they're forced to lean on him or if they're forced to lean on Zay Flowers and the lack thereof of like
Oh my God.
wide receivers.
It's always the receivers that people are always making excuses for his
I mean,
receivers.
Guys.
he leads the league in
Zay-
he leads the league in passing yards, right? He leads the
Yeah.
league in
For
passing
second, yeah,
touchdowns.
tomorrow.
Zay
Yeah.
Flowers drops the ball so much. Like in the most important moments, he just drops the ball.
Well,
I don't know.
Josh,
I'm watching a lot of Ravens games. I see Zay Flowers getting open. Lamar just has no eyes whatsoever.
Oh,
This
no.
guy's Andrews, Henry, likely.
Lamar did demolish Josh Allen in the Bills. Let's not forget that.
This is
Lamar
true.
did not. No, Derrick Henry demolished Josh Allen.
Fair.
Not Lamar. Okay.
Anyway, let's move to Offensive Player of the Year on the topic of Derrick Henry. I'll be very quick here. I think it's very easy. This is Saquon Barkley. I think it should be Jamar Chase, in my opinion. He will not get it, but I mean, Jamar's having a great season. Come on.
He is.
But
He is.
Saquon deserves it. He is doing it all for this team. I don't think there's really much more I need to say. He's the engine.
I'm with you, Saquon.
Yeah, I'm with you as well here, unfortunately. I think
Like
Saquon
paying you
kind
to
of
say that.
Saquon is the Eagles right now. He's kind of just carrying that team. Jalen Hurts is a bum, a fraud. It's kind of just Saquon back there, and it is what it is.
I agree. It is Saquon. Really isn't much to say. He does everything for the team.
All right, let's go to Depoy. This one should be fun. I know he doesn't have the stats. I think you guys know what I'm gonna say. It is Trent Jordan Watt. He's just a playmaker, man.
Jordan Watt.
He deserves this. Maybe he doesn't have the stats that he has had the past couple years. The defensive player of the year is TJ Watt. It probably always should be TJ Watt. This guy's the best defensive player on the planet. He is making plays. He's winning games. He is TJ Watt.
That wasn't an argument. That was just a repetition of he is TJ Watts.
Yeah, well, I don't think I need to defend that statement.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Stand on it. But I'm just letting you know you did not make an argument there.
He's TJ Watt.
You gave me nothing on that one.
Camille?
Give me Patrick Surtain the second, not the first.
Ooh, I like that pick.
That's a good pick.
That's a really
Ooh,
good
nice
pick.
pick.
I think you look at this Broncos team. They've been so good because Bo Nix has been having a great rookie season, but also they're very sound defensively on the defensive side of the ball. And I think the number one reason for that is Patrick Surtain is literally just a black hole. I think he has like 130 yards, receiving yards given up on the year. I mean, he's incredible. It's reminiscent of Revis Island, and you just can't throw to the guy. A close second is Christian Benford, who's potentially even better, but let them sleep.
Okay.
Unrelated. Very unrelated. I don't know, man. This is tough. I feel like there's really not a standout player this year. Um, I was gonna say my take was gonna be for a second Danielle Hunter. I think it's pretty impressive coming into a new team, with the work he's with, and then being I think second in the league in sacks right now. But I think Camille's right. I think it should be Pat Surtain. He's the second best rated defensive player on PFF. I think top rated cornerback. Absolute lockdown. When you look at how the Broncos have turned their franchise around, I think a big part of that is this defense. Biggest part of it is the defense, and Pat Surtain's the head of that.
Yeah. I'm gonna preface and say that this should be Dexter Lawrence's award this year. It's a real shame he got injured. A real shame the Giants aren't playing up to his talent. His first few weeks of this season, unstoppable. He was the clear Depoy favorite. But I will say I don't think there's any like super large standouts this year across the league in terms of like guys that are just putting together monster seasons, especially on the D line this year. Like there's some great seasons going on. There's no like monster Myles Garrett season like we've seen in the past year.
Okay, Myles Garrett. Okay. Myles Garrett didn't have the stats last year. He was lower than TJ Watt and all.
I think he was just making a generalization.
It was
I'm
just
just
a
saying you should have said
generalization,
TJ Watt like
Needs to relax.
and it's also the eye test thing. Sometimes guys just are doing things on film that you just don't see normally. But I will go with Pat Surtain this year too. I really like that take. I think that's a great take.
Yeah.
Been on the Pat Surtain hype train for a while.
Yeah. I
now.
didn't really have that take until you brought it up. Camille.
Yeah.
That's
That's a
tough.
great-
Actually,
that's an elite take,
Hey, I
though.
gave Camille that take before
Thank you,
we
guys.
started the show.
Oh, shit.
I try to be original with my
but-
ideas.
If I was a voter,
Everyone
I would give this Depoy award to Aiden Hutchinson. I don't care that he got injured. I think what he did in the first like 3-4 weeks and how the Lions defense has played after he got hurt shows that he is easily the best defensive player in the NFL right now. Sorry to Trent Jordan Watt or whatever. Aiden Hutchinson was playing lights out this year. I hope he can come back for the Super Bowl.
Are we ignoring
better.
Dexter?
I would say the Lions defense has been pretty good, honestly, without him.
They've been better
They've
without
been all right.
Their
Come on,
points
Aiden
per game
Hutchinson.
until this last week were better without him, actually.
addition by subtraction.
Anyway, let's go to Coach of the Year. This is the Mike Tomlin Coach of the Year award. Absolutely deserves it. He will win it. He should win it. It's a crime he doesn't have it already. He has managed to.
Wait, has he never won Coach of the Year?
He's never won it before.
Wow, that's
Wow.
crazy.
Belichick, I
Crazy.
think Belichick didn't really win it
Yeah,
before.
he's won it.
Or maybe he's won it once or something like that. But Mike T has never won it. He deserves it this year. What a job he's done. 18 straight seasons of 500 or better. We're already at 9-3. Could win the division.
Mhm.
Could be the 2 seed or maybe even the 1 seed. With 2 quarterbacks, I think it's a very impressive coaching job.
My answer is Kevin O'Connell, but I do want to say I don't know why there's no buzz whatsoever for Sean McDermott. Because coming into this year, the Bills were projected by many to, finish second or third in the division, have around 9 wins or so. People expected a big fall off. We shed a lot of our roster, and we just clinched the division with 5 weeks left. We're 10-2, competing for the 1 seed. This looks like the best iteration of this Bills team under the McDermott era, and it seems like his philosophy of football is finally being imprinted, and you could see that in just in the way we're playing and how happy he is with the outcome of the team. So I don't know why he's not
Remember when
getting.
Camille wanted to get Sean McDermott fired last year?
Yeah.
You
No,
guys
I
remember?
was.
Anyone remember
Both of
that?
us were calling
Anyone
for a
recall
coach.
that?
I 100% did say that, but I'm looking at this season, what I've seen right now, and I don't know why McDermott isn't in more talks for Coach of the Year.
I have to say, I think you guys are just you got it wrong here. This is Dan Campbell's award to lose. Um, Dan Campbell has done a phenomenal job with the Detroit Lions, like from bottom to top here. They're what 12-1 right now. They are lead. They have the best offense and arguably the best defense in the league as well. Like that team is nutty from the play calling is insane. He goes for it every fourth down and gets it every fourth down. I mean,
Sometimes not necessarily, but yeah.
sometimes not necessarily, but I mean, it's working. You got to give the guy his props here. I think this is Dan Campbell's award to lose. Although Mike Tomlin is a great second here, I think Mike Tomlin has done great work this year. With a Steelers roster that I'm honestly just not that impressed by. Like, on paper, it shouldn't be this good.
The offense,
There's
I
no
agree
reason
with
Russell,
you.
yeah, but there's no reason Russell Wilson should be having a career resurgence like this. But
Yeah.
yeah,
No, these are all good takes. If I had to pick one, I would say I like the Kevin O'Connell take the most, considering people thought this was going to be a fall off year for the Vikings, and he's made Sam Darnold look really good. But my take, Arjun, you're going to hate this. Nick Sirianni. I mean,
Oh,
hear me out.
he's an
Listen to
assistant coach merchant.
that he's a
No,
Howie
no, no, no.
Roseman merchant.
No. But
Yeah,
listen to the
look at
narrative on this. I think you look at this team from last year. People were calling for him to be fired. This team completely fell apart down the stretch. Turn to this year. Team looked rough in the first few
the
weeks. I mean,
team
they
fell
lost to
apart
the
because
Bucks.
of him.
And then what did you say?
The team fell apart because of him.
No, I agree. But the way he's brought this team back together, I think is incredibly impressive. He hired the right guys to run for the coordinator position. He made all the right decisions over this 8-9 game win streak. He's handled so many injuries to his offense with most of his wide receivers being hurt at times. He's turned two rookie defensive backs into absolute studs in Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell.
Yeah,
Not Vic Fangio.
I mean, okay, but you're looking at Coach of the Year. I mean, you look at what his coaching staff as a whole has done, what he's done with the guys he's hired to fill these spots. And I think you have to say that he's easily turned around a team that people thought was dead in the water last season and at the beginning of this season, turned them around into the second best team in the NFC, maybe the best. I think that's really impressive. He's my pick.
Guys, I promise you the fall off is coming. The Eagles crumble is gonna happen very, very soon. Like it's gonna happen soon here. So like what I promise
you're
you,
left to God years, man.
once Saquon goes down with the yearly injury, like it's gonna happen. And to be honest, they're getting it at the worst time. If Saquon got injured early in the year and he could come back for the playoffs, that'd be great. But if Saquon gets injured, this offense is nothing. Like,
are you wishing that Saquon gets
no,
injured?
I'm not wishing that Saquon gets injured. I'm telling you from experience, Saquon is gonna get injured. It's gonna happen.
I'm really honest, Rohan. Your take, I would think of 8 different people before I would think of Nick Sirianni.
I don't know, man. I like Sirianni here.
Like the shout.
Let's go quickly on the rookies and comeback player. Offensive rookie of the year, Brock Bowers for me.
Yeah, I'm with you, Brock Bowers.
Brock Bowers. Don't say Malik Neighbors.
Oh,
Yeah.
I can't say Malik Neighbors. I unfortunately do have to say Brock Bowers here. Yeah. It's a real shame this isn't Malik Neighbors or Marvin Harrison Jr.'s award. Should have been one of their awards. Should have been Drake May's award, really, but you know.
All right,
Still
D-Boy
holding on
or
to that.
D-Roy?
D-Roy, I'll go Quinyon Mitchell. I think he deserves it. One of the best corners in the NFL coming out. I'll finally give the Eagles an award. They deserve it here.
I agree. Quinyon Mitchell for me.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of other defensive rookies that play that well, but
Give me Drew Phillips.
Who?
Drew Phillips.
maybe Verse actually.
New York
First-
Giants cornerback, one of the best rookies
All
in the
right,
league.
all
One
right,
of the
bro.
best corners in the league.
All right.
Let's
Comeback
move on to
player of the
comeback
year.
player of the year.
I'm gonna go Burrow. His deserves to win MVP right now with the way he's playing. Please give him something. The man has come back from this. He's playing out of his mind. I'm sorry, Joe. You deserve a better team. Leave Cincinnati, please.
Who have been the other players that came back this year?
I mean,
I'm
people have
looking
argued
at it right
for
now.
Darnold, who's come back from being bad.
No, low-key give me Darnold.
Aaron
No,
Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers.
Oh,
No one
no.
I'm
said
just,
Aaron
I'm just,
Rodgers.
I'm just throwing
Yeah,
out.
Aaron Rodgers is plus 200 still for some reason. It's Joe Burrow. It's Joe Burrow.
Honestly, give me
Yeah.
Sam Darnold. I don't know, because Joe Burrow, like we've seen his level of play. Like he just has to come back from an injury, which I don't think is that crazy. It happens. But
That's
like Sam Darnold, I mean, the award criteria does include coming back from bad play. And he's just, I mean, he's playing incredible this year. I feel like you'd have to give it to him.
Give me Jameis Winston.
What?
What the fuck?
He hasn't like how long
Is
has
that
it
a
been?
vibe?
Yeah, has he come back from being
This isn't
bad?
even
He's
a
still like
vibes-based thing. It's
Jameis.
just let's look
I
at what
think
Jameis has put together in the past couple games here. This guy's been electric. He's been
He threw
nutty.
3 picks.
Okay, but he also threw 4 touchdowns and damn near 400 yards.
500 yards.
500 yards. Like you take what you can get with this guy, and I think Jameis will hear me out. I think Jameis sneaks the Browns into the wild card here.
Wait, what? I think they might be mathematically
Are they
eliminated.
mathematically eliminated?
Yeah, they
I don't
got
know.
eliminated last week when they lost, I think.
You're
If
so
that
right.
happens, you are truly the
They're
greatest.
3-9. Okay, let's move on.
All right. Let's do
He doesn't want to do when he can't talk about the Giants.
all right.
All right.
Let's do a quick game of hot seat. All right. So I'm gonna give you guys a quarterback or coach or GM pairing, and you tell me if they should stay or they should go. Let's do this very quick. All right. Brian Daboll and Joe Shane, the coach and GM of the New York Football Giants. Corey, I'll start with you.
They should be employed for the New York Football Giants for the next at least 2 years. Joe Shane, yes, I admit he did fumble the Daniel Jones situation pretty badly, but also I think people are underestimating the type of owner John Mara is. If John Mara sees success, he sees the Giants win a playoff game under Daniel Jones, and we for some reason just let him walk after that, he's gonna be pissed. I think I think Joe Shane made all the right moves with Saquon. I don't think you can keep Saquon employed there. The only reason Saquon's doing so well on the Eagles is because the Eagles have a top 10 offensive line in the league, which the Giants still don't have. So I think you have to give Dable more time and you have to give Shane more time to keep it going here.
Yeah, I agree. I think let Dable get his quarterback of choice in this draft, and see what he can do with it. I mean, you were talking about earlier that Shane hit a lot of picks this year for the Giants, which is a fair point. So let him get one more pick and see if Dable can develop a quarterback.
Agreed here.
Yeah, I agree. Same reason.
But the reporting is they both might get canned if they don't win some games. So we'll see.
That's just New York media cycle.
All right, let's go. Another one, fun one. Brock Purdy. Some people calling for Brock Purdy's head, namely, I believe, Nick Wright. Brock Purdy should not stay. He is not the problem with this team. That is a dumb take.
That's an asinine take. Brock Purdy's easily that's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL.
They have to give him $60 million this year.
It's top 10. It's top 10.
He's top 10.
Top 10, maybe. I don't
Fringe
know.
top 5, I'd say.
Fringe top 5. I think quarterback's the most important position. He can do it. Get rid of like Debo or someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's
Debo
move.
should have been gone.
Let's move to another quarterback. AR Anthony Richardson in Indianapolis.
I think you keep him a bit more, and you gotta let him cook. I mean, if you're drafting AR, it's with the expectation of it being a multi-year project. I think giving up after the first full season is just incompetence on the general managing front.
Agreed here.
Agree.
Yeah, I agree. He looks electric. He's looked really good this past few games too.
Mhm.
All right, Zach Taylor, the head coach for the Cincinnati Bengals. Get him
Should have been
out.
gone
Corey?
2 seasons ago.
Yeah, I agree. He's got to go. I think you only let him go if you like have a pretty
I agree.
sure thing. If you have a good idea that you can get Ben Johnson. I
Yeah.
think Ben Johnson would snap up a Cincinnati role where you can work with a top 5 quarterback in Joe Burrow. Zach Taylor, yeah, you've been dealt sort of bad hand with like injuries, the T. Higgins situation, sure. But if you have this talented of an offense and you could only win 4 games at this point in time, some of it comes down to coaching. He just doesn't have it at this point, and he should go.
Should be Mike Vrabel's team.
I disagree. I agree, Rohan. The opportunity costs, you got to evaluate that. You let go of Zach Taylor, you can't just take on like a guy you don't know is going to be good. I think Ben Johnson, get a proven winner in there.
Mike Vrabel's a proven winner. That's
Mike
I don't know
Vrabel
if
is-
he's the best fit for this team.
Yeah, I don't think he's the fit. They don't
for a
need.
team with-
I think Joe Burrow creates
Really,
the culture.
I think Vrabel would be a great fit for
I
this.
think Vrabel's
Actually, that's
a
true.
great
Vrabel,
fit there.
I think
A
Vrabel
team
could
with
create
no
the culture.
defensive, like a team with no defensive identity.
I think
right now,
Belichick's
Vrabel's just
the
guy.
slam dunk for them.
I think Vrabel's a good pick. And this offense now can sustain itself where you don't need an offensive coach. If you have a decent offensive coordinator, and I mean Joe Burrow is Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase is Jamar, you could survive. So I don't hate that take either.
No. I
But
think it's
Zach's got to go.
but
Zach
I like
has to.
I like the variable take. All right, let's do two more really quickly. Mike McDaniel, coach of the Dolphins.
I think it's time for a fresh start.
Disagree. If you're keeping Tua, you got to keep Mike McDaniel. It's clear they work on the same page. This team just needs. This team needs. This team needs a Brian Flores as their defensive coordinator. They need someone to bring them like a little bit of grit, a little bit of like
Yeah,
edge to
Vic
them, a
Fangio.
little bit of fire. I know that's obviously not shouldn't be Brian Flores specifically, but they need that sort of defensive mindset. I think that this
So,
team
Rohan,
can
I
be
think
set to
it
contend.
starts. I think it starts with the head coach. I mean, they had a Vic Fangio, and that defense was still soft. I mean, he goes to Philadelphia, and they're doing great things over there.
That's
I think
true.
Mike McDaniel in general. I've never been scared at all of the Dolphins during his reign there, during his tenure. I think they're like 1-14 against teams above 500, something crazy like that. He's consistently shown that he just can't beat good teams whatsoever. So I think he's got to go personally.
All right, agree with Camille. Last one, Aaron Rodgers on three. 1, 2, 3. Get him out.
No,
It's time for him to go.
retire.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of On the Turf. We'll have more content coming very soon as we approach the playoffs. Check our Instagram for power rankings, picks, and more episodes like this. Thank you, Corey, for coming on once again.
Of course.
You've been very good to the turf for the past couple of years, and we always appreciate it.
Thank you.
Of course.
My name's Arjun Ryan,
I'm Camille and Danny.
I'm Ron Patel.
I'm Corey Madison.
and we'll see you next week on the turf.
Good stuff.
Good stuff.